it's been just about, as we speak, about a week full time on the job. And I'm sure you were probably working even while you were interviewing, because you probably had ideas about this team. But what's this first week been like? Can you maybe run down a few of the things that you've had to do? I'm assuming it's been wall-to-wall work.
Yeah, you know what? It's been 16-hour days and trying to build out the department. I wanted to take time and drop into all the different departments. Just, I like to joke around a lot. I like people, so for me to have an opportunity to drop in with the ticket people, the social media group, all the people that make this thing, move. I thought that was important, and I still can't remember everybody's names. I'm working through that, but I enjoy that part of it. And so for me in the first week, that part's critical, that there's a comfort level there and they know that they can come to me to help with, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but if I can add some value to your job, don't be afraid to ask. And then calling players and organizing the staff and looking at free agency, organizing our scouting schedule for, January I'm gone every year. So that takes a lot of planning.
So when you say gone, maybe explain to people what...
I'm not on vacation. I will be at the East-West Shrine game, Hula Bowl, the CGS All-Star game. Yeah. I look, I'm the general manager, but I know what my strengths are, right? It's identifying talent, getting eyes on guys, and keeping those connections and building a team. And, I'm going to stay doing that. It will be a little bit more taxing, but it's something that I believe I'm good at, and I want to spend time in the bullpen with the guys that are working for me. This is how I'm wired.
How much have you been in contact with Scott Milanovich, your coach?
Quite a bit.
And that would mean, you guys go back. I should remind people that you guys go back.
Yeah,
you have a relationship from the past.
Yeah, I'm pumped to work with Scott. So, yeah, I reach out to him every day and just try to keep up to speed. And same with O. We keep in touch. And there's a lot of moving parts right now. I'm juggling a lot of things, but it doesn't feel like work to me. Like, this is just stuff I love doing. So, I got a pretty good bandwidth for work rate and putting in long hours. I don't see the finish line yet,
No.
put it to you that way. This is kind of ongoing, but...
Have you talked to, without giving anything away, I wouldn't put you in that kind of position, but have you talked to some players that are already under contract or not under contract? So you've been talking to players, that's been part of this week?
I try to build in a couple calls a day,
Right.
Probably not at the rate that I was thinking prior to taking the job, because I didn't realize the magnitude of, all the other stuff that I'm responsible for. So I got to get caught up to speed. We got some great guys in the department already that are certainly fast-tracking in areas, and I have full confidence in those people too, right, to do their jobs. But it's just looking at process of how we do stuff, because the good thing for me is I'm walking in there and I can already tell there's a lot of good people working in the department. And so, I need to fit into what they're doing, and they need to take a good hard look at, where we can improve on stuff that they did in the past, and now's the opportunity to make improvements. So that's fun. That's enjoyable.
During your press conference, when you were introduced to the city, you didn't pull any punches that this team needs to improve. What do you see when you look at the team from the outside, and now that you're inside and had a little more chance to review it, knowing that you're now wearing the big hat?
Yeah, there's always going to be change.
Right.
Like I said before, I'm more interested in building out leadership at each position group. That's the most important thing for me, is people understanding. So there's a lot more ways to win games than what you think. People try to simplify it like, well, you need a great quarterback. Sure, but you can win a ton of games with your number 3. You just find another way to win. But oftentimes people don't see that. So it's those conversations with the players and just trying to get them up to speed of how I operate, right? I'm not Billy Bean.
All right.
I believe in the connection, not some vertical top-down management style. I go sit in meetings with the O-linemen. I steal their snacks. I mean, I play a lot of practical jokes because I like to have fun in the workplace. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to make hard decisions, because I know those tough decisions, but I can still do it, with grace, and allow a player to have dignity on the way out the door should we have to make decisions, and we will.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody can hide from the fact the team hasn't had a winning record in 3 years, so there's some things that have to, obviously, that begets change in itself.
Yeah, and you know what? The reality is, the leaders of that locker room and the guys that are really good, they want that too. They want to be surrounded with pros that want to win, that want to work together. That's what the good players in the locker room want. And there's a lot of them already here. So it's my job to do what I do best, which is bring in talented guys that are good people and build on that so our players can experience that.
Have you had a chance? Have you had a chance to speak with Bo yet?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was funny. I enjoyed my time with him. The first thing he says to me is, "Hey, I appreciate what you said about calling me, but Beardy should have been the first call." And I love that.
Right.
I'm a huge O-line guy.
Yes, the center,
It's I'm big on continuity, and that group to me is where it starts. Those guys do a lot of work that people don't see unless you totally get it. And I coached O-line for 10 years, so I'm a fan of O-line play, and I know the type of people that make great O-linemen, and I know what that experience can be. And there's a good group there already, and there's some young tackles that got to play. And, it's going to be competitive at that group because I spend money on that group. I spend a lot of time, always have, building out that unit. But once I find the right guys, I'll pay them, and I'm going to keep them, and I'm going to make it fun for them to be around.
Wally said that Wally Buono was speaking on this very show earlier this week, and said he said that was a really key thing when he was listening to your interviews. Yes, of your that you focused there. That was I think the first thing you talked about when you talked position, and I think he said a lot of coaches are like that. I mean, in this league.
That's high praise from Wally Buono.
Well, it is. Any praise from Wally Buono is.
I appreciate that.
And I think we'll just close off here a little bit more, just on your local background. A lot of people don't realize, when I said at the top of the show, how local you are. I mean, you're steel mill type of local. I mean, speaking of mills, you did work on the line at Ford at one time.
Oh, buddy, yeah. I worked for Taylor Moving Company, moving people all over this city. Like, no overtime pay. I got really long arms from it. But, I've taken some jobs. I was always raised, my dad always said, like, you're working. So I've been working since I was 11. I was never allowed to quit a job till I was there for a year, which I didn't really understand as a kid. But,
You worked at the line in Ford because you knew that you wanted to have an education but couldn't.
I couldn't afford it.
Couldn't afford it, so you worked a line there and
coached at Assumption High School. I was playing junior football
for the Burlington Braves.
I played for the Oakville Longhorns, the senior team. Played with a lot of great guys. Tony Molnar was a great minor league coach that built great teams. Yeah, I mean, all those experiences.
3 years at Mac, where you were also the recruiting director, right, and put together, 3 Yates Cups? Roughly?
Yeah, we won 3, yeah. The coaches that I got a chance to work with, they're still all around here, Yeah, I mean, that's, the beauty of this sport, like even for people that haven't played it, is the people and what you can do with people from all walks of life, all experiences, and everything building together. You win together, you figure out why. It's everybody, and you keep those relationships. It's a special bond, right? Even when you lose, there's a bond, but doing something great together, you carry that forward forever.
You played minor football in Burlington? You played minor football in Burlington. Yeah. Then you play for Assumption, undersized offensive lineman somewhat.
Try-hard guy. Yeah.
going to a lot of games.
Look, I went to everything.
You went to everything here. So
I went to Jays games. I went to Argo games. I went to Cats games. I went to the local. I used to hop the fence to see the high school team play. I didn't have any money, so I found the back fence. I'd hop it, go watch the senior men's team play the night games. Right. I was like the youngest guy on my block of 10 guys that
was into it.
They were all into it,
right.
And I was the youngest, so I was like. I got into football because they were all playing, and I played hockey, and they'd knock on my door every Saturday morning and make me the full-time running back for both teams, and I wore hockey gear. So and we went live, and later in life I figured out why, because we were all met up, and I brought up the story, and they were like, "Oh, you loved it," and I was like, "Well, why'd you guys?" Well, because you weren't very fast. So I'm the full-time running back in hockey gear, and these guys are wearing their football equipment, and it's all those experiences, like all local, that get me motivated, right?
So we'll end this by I want to put myself in your shoes here, trying to walk or coming to the stadium all of those years, even those years when you're working for the Blue Bombers and you're scouting the games and you're taking your jacket off, you walk through the tailgate and they don't clobber you and those kind of things. What did it feel like when they said you have the job here for the team that you grew up idolizing?
I was just thinking of all the stuff I had to do, Steve. To be honest with you, I got hired and I was like, oh, geez, I got to do this. Okay, let's get going. And then, where I felt it was the press conference. When I'm looking out there and I'm seeing Leo there and Riley and, Ron Foxcroft that was there, that was a big supporter at McMaster, and just looking around the room and thinking, wow, this is awesome. So when I got the job, I was more thinking about what I need to do. When I was doing the press conference, it really hit home. And then, of course, all the messages. And guys buying season tickets and texting me and saying, I've had 5 of those messages from guys that I played with that were like, hey, just want to let you know I'm buying tickets. And I'm like, that's amazing, because, this place really is awesome when it's humming, and it's a tough place for opponents to play, and that's what I see on opening day. Like, I see that coming back and building on it year after year. I envision all of those things, So that's.
Speaking of awesome, your word, which you used a couple of times there, this has been awesome for all of us here, and I hope, Ted, that this is a fairly regular feature, that we'll be sitting here.
Sure.
We're up in the press box and finding out your thoughts on everything about the Ticats, everything about the city, because I'm sure there'll be some discovery process here. So I want to thank Ted Goveia for being with us today, and join us next time on Ticats Today.